Hi again, everyone. I'm Ollie Matthews. This is Societal Narcissism. This video is sponsored by contribution from Teresa. Teresa gave a very nice contribution, which I will use for this video. You know, I keep harping on the LGBTQIA plus, the whole thing, because, it is very, I wouldn't say near and dear to my heart, but being raised by, a borderline personality drunk who was obsessed with gay males, this is something that has, because it wasn't like my mother's obsession wasn't with them, wasn't like because she wanted them to feel love or included. She got off on the degeneracy. That was the thing with my mother, which is just so obvious with her and so many of these people societally these days. They thrive. They thrive on the degeneracy. That's what motivates them. So the story I'm about to show you, this is something you probably have heard of. You probably heard of another one similar out of Colorado, where the baker that they've been trying to force for like 20 years. They've been harassing this guy, and every time he makes it to the Supreme Court, he wins. But they put him through the ringer, and they keep trying to make him bake cakes for gay marriages. And all they do is they just got people going in, looking for problems, just looking for problems so they could set up another and put him through the ringer again and again and again. Why do they do this? Do they really want him? Is it that important that this guy bakes a cake? Or I'm going to show you a story about a photographer, this one's about, or this photographer takes their pictures because they're so good. No, they don't care. There's a million bakers who make wedding cakes. There's a million wedding photographers. They go after these bakers and these photographers because they're Christian, they're holding towards their religious beliefs, and they don't want to participate in gay marriage. In the ceremony, they say it's against their beliefs and it's supposed to be America. But that's not good enough. See, this whole thing was supposed to be about tolerance. But they're the most intolerant people who ever walked the face of the earth. This is about their demand that you take part in their degeneracy. And they're very specific because they don't go around suing Muslims. They don't go looking for a Muslim photographer or a Muslim baker and try to have them take part in their transgender thing or their transgender ceremony or their gay marriage. They don't want that. No, it's only about the Christians because they're afraid of the Muslims. They'll do it to the Christian. Why? Because it's a form of taunting. They're taunting them into not only accepting or being tolerant of, taking part in their degeneracy. And again, this is another thing that started with the boomers. This whole ball started rolling with the boomers. And it's another issue you can also lay at the feet of the 19th Amendment. Because again, if women weren't voting, this shit would never pass. Never in a million years would gay marriage or any of this stuff pass. Would these judges ever get appointed to anything? It just wouldn't happen. It just wouldn't happen. So on to the story I'm talking about. Emily Carpenter Photography versus James. And she's a Christian photographer from New York. New York state law forces photographer and blogger Emily Carpenter to create photographs and blogs celebrating same-sex weddings if she does so for weddings between one man and one woman. Penalties violating the law include fines up to $100,000, a revoked business license, and up to a year in jail. You imagine even needing a business license to take photos? Like, I mean, the whole system needs to be gutted to begin with. So if you want to take pictures of a man and a woman, you got to take pictures of gay men. I don't know why. Why? Because they demand you take part in their degeneracy. They demand it. Let's hear a story.
I started gravitating towards the creative realm ever since I was a little girl. I always have been drawn to the arts and to creating things with my hands, whether it was scrapbooking or drawing. And I got my first camera my senior year in high school. And that was kind of the culmination of all those artistic endeavors. I photographed my first wedding in 2013, so about a decade ago. And when I photographed that wedding, it was just a spark. I absolutely loved it. It was such an awesome opportunity to work with a couple on such a special occasion for them. I love working with clients and couples and pairing those things together. It's like the fusion of this love for people and this love for creating into one job. And it's amazing picking up my camera and knowing that I am going to be telling these stories and creating messages that, one, I'm so passionate about, but two, I know are so meaningful to the folks that I'm working with. It's pretty in-depth. It's also pretty intimate. So I'm working with them very closely up front, texting, calling. Even when we're on set, we're on the shoot, I'm posing them and I'm very involved at this point. Obviously, I've gotten to know them pretty well. So I'm really working closely to kind of interpret the way I see their love and their connection through my own perspective and my own artistry, so I can use my storytelling and my photography to create the best messages possible for them. I would say that I'm a Christ follower and I seek to glorify God in all that I do. My faith is really integral to me and to my business and has ultimately shaped my perspective on marriage. And knowing that this is such a special day, specifically for weddings, that I'm photographing these images for couples where they're entering into this beautiful and sacred union, obviously that they're thrilled to be entering and I'm thrilled to be capturing for them. It's also dictated and given me parameters for what I don't want to create. And some of those messages might be endorsing racism or condoning violence or demeaning other people. Ultimately, it's the lens through which I view the world around me. And so it's my honor and my duty to bring that into my photography. And it's now been about a decade, and I'm still photographing weddings, and I absolutely love it.
As a Christian business owner and as a photographer, she celebrates weddings and she wants everything she does to celebrate her beliefs about marriage and about God. And the state of New York would require her to create messages that violate that core conviction.
Creating content is obviously fundamental to being an artist and being a photographer and being able to freely choose those.
This is the same organization that defended the baker, because that was him on the wall.
Fundamental to being an artist and being a photographer.
Yeah, it's right here. That's the baker that she's from Colorado I was talking about.
And being able to freely choose those messages is a privilege, and it's ultimately one of the reasons I love photography, being able to create artwork that's consistent with my beliefs and my passions.
She's clearly an artist. Like, you could see the scenes she's taken, they're beautiful shots, but they want to come in now and destroy her art and destroy her belief system. They want to taunt her with their degeneracy.
Again, that's one of the
Why? Because they're demons. That's what demons do. That's what demons do.
Reasons why I love weddings so much, because I am so passionate about them and the message that it is.
She also, as a Christian, believes that marriage is between one man and one woman, and as such, she can only create photography that celebrates marriages between one man and one woman. And that's what gets her in trouble with the state of New York. When they should be respecting artists' freedom, the state of New York is not doing so.
Remember, this whole game was supposed to be about tolerance. Remember? We're supposed to be just tolerate it. It wasn't supposed to be we're going to show up at your business and we demand access to it. What was that about? Again, whatever they tell you they're not about, it's exactly what they're about. They demand you be a part of their degeneracy. That's what you're seeing in the schools. That's what you're seeing with all this stuff. They're demons. Mask off.
Right now, I'm facing pretty severe threats from New York State, which are really scary. It's $100,000 fines, it's jail time, it's ultimately the closure of my business. And as an entrepreneur, that's extremely terrible.
Imagine jail time for not taking pictures of a gay marriage. I mean, could you imagine? Well, you can, because that's what's happening. This is why I tell you, get out of the blue states, man. Get out of the blue states, because these are the monsters running it. And you're not voting them out. You're not getting, because every time you vote a Democrat out in one of these states, you vote another one in that's even worse. Whether it be Illinois, in Chicago, in California, in New York, or you're just going to keep voting for the next worst thing. Why? Because they're Marxists and they're communists. And the communists might be upset with the communist in charge. But that doesn't mean they don't believe in communism. They just think that they should be in charge and everything would work. That's all. That's all that means.
Terrifying knowing that my livelihood could be stripped out from under me because I'm being forced to create a message that I disagree with.
The state of New York not only requires Emily to create art that violates her core convictions, but the state of New York won't even let her speak about her religious beliefs and how they impact her business, particularly her religious beliefs about marriage, on her own website. That's an egregious problem, to say that she can't even talk about her own beliefs on her own website without facing significant penalties.
So you have to violate your beliefs and you have to take these pictures, but you can't talk about your beliefs on your on your business website. This is communism, people. If you're living in one of these states, this is what you're living under. And if this issue might not affect you, but the next one might, because they're communists. They'll just make up any rule they want.
Penalties, even jail time, from the state of New York.
So what have you decided?
I'm filing a lawsuit with the state of New York because I feel like I have no other options. Really, the only options I have are to violate my faith, violate the law, or close down my business. And none of those feel like viable options. And I'm moving forward with this for those reasons, in hopes that all artists would be free to choose the messages that they promote. But for those people who even may disagree with me, I remind them that this is an issue of free speech. And while I want my own free speech protected as an artist, that's something I would want for everybody. It's going so much further than just me, just photographers. It's all creative professionals having their speech protected, which unquestionably has been protected by the First Amendment. You should not be banished from the marketplace based on religious convictions, and so we're hoping that the court will protect the rights of artists.
Okay, so that's her story, and there's an update today on it, and it's actually a good one. New York photographer wins significant free speech ruling. District Court halts New York laws forcing photographer to create messages inconsistent with her beliefs. And listen, these people always win on appeal or at the Supreme Court. But it takes years and millions of dollars, and that's the point. They're taunting you with the process. They're taunting you with their debauchery. They're demanding you take part in it. And who are they demanding it from? They're only demanding it from Christ followers. They're not doing it for followers of Allah or Muhammad, that's for sure. Wonder why? Because Christ is king. Sorry, not sorry. Rochester, New York. U.S. District Court for the Western District of New York issued a significant decision Thursday in the Emily Carpenter photography versus James, halting the state from forcing a photographer and blogger to create messages inconsistent with her faith. Case moves forward in court. And by versus James, they're talking about Letitia James, the moron who's about to get arrested for federal mortgage fraud, who went after Trump. So that's the James you're dealing with. And she'll end up getting arrested, and she'll end up getting kicked out of her job, and then the next attorney general will be something even worse for New York. Have fun up there, New York. Last July, the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Second Circuit returned a case to the lower court to rule whether New York laws could compel Emily to create photographs and blogs expressing a message that contradicts her beliefs in light of the monumental decision 303 Creative versus Elenis. That's the baker in Colorado. And he's already won 2 cases at the Supreme Court, but Colorado is out of their freaking minds, another one of those states that are out of their minds. And that's what you have. And it's funny because whether it be Colorado or Arizona or New York, like Colorado's gone batshit, but why did they go batshit? Colorado was targeted from the 80s, from the what the fuck? I can't even remember his name now. The racist that everybody David Duke. I guess David Duke was operating out of there as one of their base of operations. And after that, they just target it with liberal bullshit until they destroyed the state. Meanwhile, nobody could actually pick David Duke out of a fucking lineup, but everybody knows his name. Ridiculous. Same thing with Arizona. Why Arizona's having so many immigration issues now. Remember Maricopa County and all the problems are coming out of Maricopa County. Remember when Sheriff Joe Arpaio ran Maricopa County and the Show Your Papers Please law that Arizona, when it was under Republican leadership and they were going to crack down on illegal immigration and the Supreme Court allowed it? Oh, they weren't going to have that. Deep State wasn't going to have that. Arizona had to be destroyed. And that's why you're at where you're at with that state. Because whenever Republicans or whenever conservatives get a win against these people in one of these states, okay, the other side doesn't just give up. They triple down. They double and triple down to destroy the state where the victory took place in. And the dumbass conservatives and Republicans still haven't figured that out. Or they have, because these are private, like this law firm, this Alliance Defending Freedom, that's privately run. Okay, I guarantee you 80% of the Republicans and conservatives, okay, that are elected hate this. They're fine with this. That's why after these victories, they allow these monsters to come in and destroy the states. There, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that government officials cannot force artists to create speech that violates their religious beliefs. The district court agreed that New York's law can't force Emily Carpenter to create messages that conflict with her faith. Free speech is for everyone, and more courts are ruling consistent with that message, said ADF legal counsel Brian Neihart. As the Supreme Court reaffirmed in the 303 Creative, the government can't force Americans to say things they don't believe. The U.S. Constitution protects Emily's freedom to express her own views as she continues to serve clients of all backgrounds and beliefs. The District Court rightly upheld this freedom and followed Supreme Court precedent. Emily can now enjoy the freedom to create and express herself, a freedom that protects all Americans regardless of their views. As the U.S. District Court for the Western District of New York explained, from start to finish, Emily provides, and this is what the court said, from start to finish, Emily provides a customized, tailored photography service that is guided by her own artistic and moral judgment. This, the court said, shows that Emily's photography constitute mediums of expression that are expressive activity protected by the First Amendment. They hate that First Amendment, boy. Not as much as the Second Amendment, because the Second Amendment protects the First. That's why they're always screaming about it. New York laws threaten Carpenter with fines up to $100,000, a revoked business license, and up to a year in jail. Carpenter's case is similar to the 303 Creative, which involved Colorado graphic artist and website designer Lori Smith. Smith challenged a state law that forced her to express messages that had violated her beliefs. The Supreme Court concluded that the state of Colorado could not compel Smith to create content that contradicted her views on marriage. The Supreme Court reaffirmed the bedrock First Amendment principle that the government may not seek to force an individual to speak in ways that align with the government's views, but defy her conscience about a matter of public significance. Raymond Daig of Daig Law Services, a local counsel on behalf of Emily Carpenter Photography. Okay, so that's the end of that. I just pulled the Viatin. Why would they put that at the end? No, that's kind of silly. But there you have it. So she wins. After 10 years, after starting her business at 10 years, having the state of New York come in here and say, you got to do this, you got to fine you $100,000. You know, she has to go through all of this process just to run a moral business. Why? Because the narcissist demands you take part in their debauchery. Christ is king, everyone. So take heart in small victories, and this is a small one. Because they're not going to leave this woman alone even after this. They didn't leave the baker alone. They keep trying. First it was gay marriage, now it's transgender. Now they're going to just keep sending people in there to take pictures and then they're going to start a new lawsuit. And then they're going to have to go through, because the district court, most of the district court judges are corrupt. So they'll uphold, and then the appellate will uphold until you might get a decent appellate court. Or if it can't get past it, eventually it'll get to the Supreme Court in 3-4 years. And after all that, millions of dollars are spent. And you're completely beaten and demoralized. Not only you, your customers, anyone who believes in, and there's the demon taunting and laughing you the entire time. Christ is king. So, thank you, Teresa, for the contribution. I really appreciate it. Thank you to everybody watching. Please leave any opinions in the comments section below. And again, if you want your story read on the channel, you have a topic you'd like me to cover, something you'd like to expose, you'd like to set up a Skype, a phone call, have a private video made, you'd like to sponsor a video like this, someone who needs help and can't afford it, or just make a contribution to the channel in general to keep it supported, growing, and successful, because this channel survives 100% on contributions from all of you. Without you guys, all this goes away. So if you like what you see here and you want to see more videos like this, you know what to do with either the Cash App, Zelle, PayPal, and email link in the description box below. Also, please like and share this video wherever you can. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't, and be sure to click the subscription bell to be notified of all my video uploads. Also, be sure to subscribe to both my channels on Rumble. Follow me on X and Telegram as well. I'm Ollie Matthews. This has been Societal Narcissism. Take care, everyone.